Hello Goobers, it's me, your favorite Goober, and I'm here to do that update regarding the new series that I'm kind of workshopping at the moment. I've mulled it over, and I do like what I have. I want to see what it could look like if I gave it a more extended development rather than just the 3 days that I've had it on my mind. I mean, this is a fresh out the oven idea, so there's a lot of volatility in everything that I'm about to say. However, I'm going to give you the rundown on what that new series could look like. To start off, in this world, it is no ordinary world. I think I'm going to put it in a modern era, definitely a developed kind of humanity. I don't want to have anything futuristic, but I don't want to go too far back in time. I think I'll just choose modern day. I don't know if I'll do Earth. I might do something where it's like an Earth-like planet, but it's just not Earth. Just 'cause why not? But yeah, little rundown there. In this world, people can be consumed by their irrational fears. I want to drive that point home. Irrational. An example I use is to say somebody's maybe really afraid of getting mortally wounded by a carpet's rug burn. So they're just so afraid of carpet. Maybe they suffered a traumatic event as a child where they had a bad instance of rug burn, and from then on forth, they were forever afraid of carpets. And as they grew into adulthood, they began to really fear carpets, and maybe something pushes them over the edge. You know, maybe they're exposed to a carpet, and it just pushes them over the edge. Like I said, they become consumed by their fear and become a sort of fear monster. I've kind of, my early concept name for them are just irrationals. Don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna let it sit there. I just came up with that today, so it needs some time to bake. See if I like it. I'll keep using it, but like I said, everything, every detail, it's super volatile right now. I mean, this idea is so new. Anything could change. But for now, let me get back into it. These fear monsters, right? They can manifest, and what I really like about them is what they let me do visually. I can really work with the character's personality and their fear and how those two things intertwine to create this kind of monster. Um, because at the end of the day, like they are the catalyst for this monster to appear. They fell off the deep end and were consumed, but they're still gonna influence how the monster is, both through personality and through whatever fear, right? If you're afraid of carpet rug burn, maybe that manifests as a monster that uses friction to inflict a lot of damage. Um, I don't know, something like that. But who takes care of these irrationals? Well, I want to have, and this is an idea that I came up with today as well. I wanted to have an organization that's been steeped in history, long tradition. It's viewed as the normal way to go about doing things. That organization deploys a group of individuals called therapists, and it's their job to save those who are consumed by their fear. They do not want to kill the fear monster, they want to subdue it and rescue the consumed individual. Uh, you know, therapists. However, some drama occurred. I was going to have it set where some sort of major uh, underestimation of strength has occurred, right? And they have an approach where they don't kill these irrationals. And so, because of a pretty bad moment in time, they their pacifism, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right explanation because they'll whoop some ass, but they'll try to save your life. It costs them, right? And it's tarnished their reputation. And while we don't pick up during that time, right, that moment has come and gone. They've recuperated some of their uh, good graces, but a stain on their name forever remains when a gross underestimation led to some casualties, right? A good handful of casualties, all because they wanted to save this irrational. And that led to another division who have it out to kill these irrationals. Because, as you can tell, they're quite dangerous, alright? They're not something that you want to just leave roaming about. You want to handle them. That's what the therapists are there for, but if another accident were to happen, who's to say it won't be worse than the last time? And so this organization, they kill, and they're authorized to kill. And so there's kind of this competing ideology between wanting to save everybody and knowing when to pull the trigger, you know, sacrifice the one life to save, say, 25, right? Are you able to make that call? Well, the other group doesn't ask questions, they just kill because they see it as a trade of higher value, right? And it's just some ideological clashes. You're used to that kind of concept, I'm sure. But it's kind of like the rough world building that I have right now. And the main character, I was going to make her a woman, and I was going to make them afraid of the moon. And I was coming up, this is the last thing to mention. I was coming up with like, how would their power manifest? And I was thinking about the moon. I was like, what about the moon can I utilize um, as a potential power set? And then how can I use that to maybe characterize her for me, right? Let's say we know that the sun bounces light at the moon, and that's why when the moon reflects that sunlight, it looks like it's kind of glowing in the night sky, when in reality it's just reflecting our sun's beams, right? Well, okay, the moon has a reflective property. Maybe she's afraid of being watched all the time, and that's why she's afraid of the moon because she feels like she's being watched. Um, it always follows her, and she's kind of scared of that, and she doesn't want to really. She wants to deflect that, right? Deflect away from being seen and perceived, and so that can manifest as a sort of power there, while also tying into like her personality. Um, Another great example: the moon is very important for the Earth's tides. It has a great effect on them. So I'm working with some water ideas. Um, Same basis for why the moon deity represents the water element in my other series that I'm working on. The moon deity, she, because of that property of the moon affecting the Earth's tides, kind of fits perfectly in my eyes. Um, so looking at the other series where it's like all about fear, how could I make water and kind of look at the Earth's tides? A semi-disconnected effect on water, how could that look? Uh, I wasn't really too interested in that. The moon is also kind of locked in stasis. It doesn't rotate. It's why the moon always looks the same. Um, Only difference is how much of it is illuminated, right? That's why we have different phases of the moon. But it's not rotating. I forget it has a technical term, but when a planet is orbiting another planet, but it's not, there's no rotation, it's like in a sort of stasis. I don't know what that name is. Sorry. Maybe I can use that. Maybe she feels stuck in place, and I don't know. I think the deflecting could work best because it ties better into personality. I'd have to really put more thought into the other options and weigh how I feel about them. But right now, I'm kind of chilling with the deflection, don't want to be perceived kind of stuff. I don't know. Everything's volatile, everything can change. But the last thing I should mention, totally blew over this, but some people can control their fear. This is not going to be a situation where only the main character can control their fear and turn it into a power to save others. This is going to be a thing it's what you can do. Those who have overcome their fear and can use it to their advantage are able to kind of enter this semi-consumed state where if you're not careful, you can be consumed, right? Because you are facing your fear head on. But if you can manage to maintain a strong will, you can take advantage of that power, right? So you're like half consumed. I don't really know how that works, but I'm the author. I'll have to figure it out. For now, it's kind of everything, just a very rough idea. Um, Lots of thinking, even making this video, but whatever. I'm too tired to redo this. So thank you for your time. Good night and good luck. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.